This is CBSSports.com. I'm Kevin Cork. Time to touch base with the ultimate college football insider, Tony Barnhart, as we give you the very latest news on what's happening in the conference carousel. And believe me, it is spinning ever quicker by the day. The University of Louisville now is on the way to the ACC, and we welcome Tony to the program once again to talk about what is happening. And so, Tony, I guess the first question is the obvious. What does this mean for Louisville and in particular for the ACC?
Well, obviously, the ACC, Kevin, had to make a move when they knew they were going to lose Maryland, which they found out about last week. And Jeremy Fowler of CBSSports.com has been all over this thing ever since it happened, and he's reporting that they looked at some options. They obviously looked at Louisville, looked at UConn, looked at Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Jeremy has reported, was making a real big push to get them. At the end of the day, looking at Louisville's tradition in basketball, looking at their success in football under Charlie Strong, the presidents voted to take the University of Louisville for next year.
Well, let me ask you then, does this mean that UConn is off the table, or do you suspect that if the conference expands to, say, 16 teams, that the Huskies could also be joining the Cardinals in the ACC?
Yeah, but the question is, and you just hit on it, do they want to go to 16? That decision has not been made yet. I don't think it's a slam dunk that they're going to go to 16. Some team, they might do it as a preemptive strike against any kind of further sort of rating of their programs. But yeah, I don't think, I think you're right. I think if UConn is back on the table, and it's a big if the ACC does decide eventually to go to 16.
How did this all come about, Tony? We remember we've obviously gone through this a few times, but it seems like lately things are picking up in a bit of a hyper pace. Tell me how this all came about.
Well, the game changer, of course, was what the Big Ten did last week that caught, I think, everybody by surprise by taking Rutgers and Maryland to go to 14 teams. Once that happened, everybody's sort of looking around saying, okay, what do we need to do to respond to what the Big Ten has done? And what happens, do we need to do something preemptively so that our teams don't get rated? And that's what's, obviously, the ACC had to make a move once it lost Maryland, and they had to get back to 14. The conferences like the Big East, they had to make a move, which of course they moved yesterday. It's all about, it's a domino effect, Kevin. Once a conference makes a move, other conferences either lose a team or feel like they have to do something to strengthen their position in the marketplace.
And super important for the ACC because obviously we're hearing rumors that teams like Virginia and even North Carolina may ultimately be approached by the Big Ten. Of course, we'll have to see how that all plays out. Tony, you did mention Charlie Strong and the football program over at Louisville. What does this mean now for him, a guy who is obviously one of the hottest coaching prospects in all of college football?
Well, Charlie's job just is now different. Okay, he was a member of the Big East and a successful member of the Big East, but the Big East moving forward, remember, does not have a bowl deal, a lock-in game in the new world order, in the new 4-team playoff that starts in 2014. The ACC obviously does. They have a tie-in to the Orange Bowl. So Charlie Strong goes from being in a conference where you don't know if you're going to get in, you got to be the highest ranked team among those conferences to get into, now getting an automatic bid if he wins the ACC. That to me, that changes the dynamic of his job.
He is Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, helping us keep an eye on college football here on College Football 360. I'm Kevin Cork, and reminding you, everybody, that we have a huge game coming up this weekend here on the network. We're going to present streaming live the SEC Championship game, Georgia taking on Alabama. Our coverage begins at 3:50. I'll have your halftime highlights and scores from around the country, and, of course, the postgame report with Gary Danielson. That's Saturday right here at CBSSports.com.